Hello and welcome to Woke to the Planet. I'm here today because Halloween is coming up. In fact, it's not long now until we'll all have pumpkins like this outside our house and we'll all be trick-or-treating round the neighbourhood. Now, I wanted to talk about Halloween because it is coming up to sort of that festive period before Christmas. There's a lot of plastic decorations around, a lot of sweets, and it's definitely a time where a lot of waste is created in the process of celebrating. I love Halloween. I think it's an absolutely brilliant tradition to celebrate, and I think where it came from is really interesting as well. So you might not know, but Halloween actually started off with a festival celebrated by the Celtics. This is hundreds of years ago, and what they do is they dress up in costumes and light bonfires to try and ward off evil spirits and ghosts from local towns and villages. So that's where Halloween came from, and we kind of carry that through today with some of the traditions that we do. Now, there's a few areas I really wanted to talk about and focus on around Halloween and the waste that's created, so we're going to jump straight in and start chatting about them. The first one is the sweets that are given out each year. Now, sweets nowadays are wrapped individually in plastic, usually inside a bigger plastic bag. And people will buy these bags, empty them into buckets, children will get the little sweet wrappers, open them, and there'll be plastic everywhere. And those small sweet wrappers can't actually be recycled, it's impossible. They go to landfill where they sit for thousands of years to disintegrate eventually. Now, there are some really easy ways to avoid this, and actually I've brought along a couple of examples. One of them is to simply buy, this seems pretty obvious, but sweets which are in cardboard tubes. These are Smarties, as you may have guessed, and they come in a cardboard tube which can be recycled, and that's a really easy way to avoid this. Obviously I'm in the UK, so we also have something called Poppets, which also come in cardboard boxes. I think in America they tend to have things like Nerds. That's quite a common one. We do have them here, but they're not as easily found as I think they probably are in the US, so that's also an option. And then what I actually have here, this was a bit more expensive to buy. If I just show the camera that. This is a chocolate bar and a make that's actually come into the UK in probably the last year. It's actually called Tony's Chocolate. Tony's Chocolate actually wrap all their chocolate in aluminium foil and paper wrapping around it. Now this means that your wrapping isn't plastic, it's recyclable, as long as you obviously scrunch the aluminum up into a big enough ball to be recycled. It is a bit more expensive. That bar cost me about £1.30, so obviously compared to other chocolates it is pricey. But also what I really like about this is it is completely ethically sourced, and that's actually why Tony started Tony's Chocolate. It's an interesting story. If you're in the UK, do check it out. I'm not sure if they have this in the US, but do have a look, see if you can find it in your local supermarket, or perhaps just do some research on it. Of course, another alternative to giving out cardboard sweets is to give out things like fruit. It may seem slightly boring, but to older children, fruit can sometimes be a better off option to sweets and perhaps appreciated a bit more, so that's always an option. Now, the second one that I really wanted to go on to is actually costumes, because I found out that each year in the UK, and this is just the UK alone, in the UK you've got to understand we don't celebrate Halloween to the extent people do in other areas of the world, especially America. America, Halloween's quite a big thing, whereas in the UK it's not quite as big at all. But every single year we still throw away 12,500 tonnes of Halloween costumes that go to landfill every year. That blew my mind, considering how small Halloween can be some years here. So I wanted to come up with an alternative, or at least a few alternatives anyway. You might notice at the moment I'm not dressed up in a Halloween costume, which is odd because it's a Halloween video. So what I've done is I've got myself some fabric scissors, which are incredibly sharp, and I've got some old clothes which I found in my wardrobe. This I think is actually a woman's t-shirt. Don't ask why it's in my wardrobe. I've never seen this t-shirt before, honestly. I'm going to chop it up today, and I'm going to attempt to make a zombie costume. I've also got some shorts as well, which don't really fit me anymore, but for the purpose of the costume, it doesn't matter, that's fine. The reason I'm actually going to do this is because I want to make it clear that I'm not that crafty at all. You know, I'm not here all the time making things, or I don't do it professionally, but anyone can do it. And I'm going to have a go. It'll probably look rubbish, but we're going to have a go. We're going to make a Halloween costume, and let's see how it goes. And there we go, that is the big reveal. Look what a good job I've done. I've even added some face paints I had lying around from a couple of years ago, and I've even added those to the t-shirt to make it look even more effective. So there we go. You don't have to send 12,500 tonnes of costumes to landfill every year. Obviously one option is to raid your wardrobe and completely destroy the clothes inside it, like I've done here in this snappy outfit. Another option is to hire a costume. If you like using a different costume every year, perhaps hire one, or perhaps consider giving last year's one that you bought another go this year. Either way, don't chuck them away. They're a waste in landfill. Now, one note I would like to end on, I'll do a bit of a summary of some of the points I've gone through at the end of this, is to do with pumpkins. Now, this is the one I made at the start of the video. And as you can see, he is very handsome. But in about 3 weeks' time, his job will be slightly redundant. At which point, many people will just throw their pumpkins away. In fact, millions of these things end up in landfill every year, which is a shame really, considering they could have quite a few other purposes. Now, one way to avoid the unnecessary landfill waste is to compost your pumpkin. If you've got a compost heap, chuck the pumpkin in. It's a lot better than sending it to landfill. The other option, which is probably only for a select few people, but if you've got some chickens, or your next door neighbour's got some chickens, or you know a chicken yourself, as we all do, you can actually give this to them, and it's a bit of a treat for them. Chickens actually really like pumpkins and the insides of them as well. So if you've got the inside of a pumpkin lying around, or the pumpkin itself, chop it up and feed it to your chickens. It's a bit of a niche tip to end on, but yeah. So, Halloween. It hasn't got to be another festive period where we all come together and create mass amounts of waste. We've learned that you can use cardboard sweets, and in fact, they're quite easily found. I didn't have to go far to find cardboard sweets. If you look, you will find them. Secondly, make your own costume. It's actually so much fun to do, and it's much better than buying one from the shops that's been imported from China and has a massive carbon footprint on it. And you can look as good as me. Because, I mean, I really do just look unbelievable in this outfit, as you can see. And I've ruined a pretty decent pair of shorts and a t-shirt over it as well. So, yeah, you can make your own costume like I did. Hire a costume, especially from theatres this time of year, because perhaps they're struggling, perhaps they're coming up to Christmas, they want to make a bit of extra money to make some improvements for the theatre before they run pantomimes or anything like that. They're always happy to make some extra money. Contact your local theatre, see if they've got any costumes lying about you can borrow, or of course you could always use last year's one again. But try and avoid buying these plastic ones from China. They've got a huge carbon footprint, and really they just look a bit naff at the end of it. They're not actually that decent anyway, I don't think. And pumpkins, don't chuck them away. Give them to a chicken, or compost your pumpkin, or maybe you could even make pumpkin pie, but I'm not going to try and demonstrate that today because I'm not quite that creative. I hope you've enjoyed this video from Woke to the Planet. I know it's been slightly different to the past ones that I've done. If you've enjoyed it, please do give it a like, please do subscribe, and I'll see you next time.